calling the top of any market is incredibly difficult. I was very fortunate and indeed lucky to do so in 2007 in the FT ahead of the credit crunch. But it was Anna White writing in the Telegraph in 2014 who asked what many of us were asking at the time about the health of the current cycle. Indeed, I wrote subsequently that year in the FT again about the dearth of homes for sale and the potential impact this could have. We'd seen prices recover to their pre-crunch levels across the country, but London was clearly heading towards bubble territory. Indeed, I wrote in Newsweek earlier this year about the potential impact of the referendum to be held later in June and whether this might precipitate some issues. But clearly, once the vote to leave had arrived, several of the commentators talked about the impact on transactions and on prices. My old friends at Savills talking about a slowdown in the number of homes selling. I was slightly more pessimistic at the time, talking about prices sliding by as much as 10% by Christmas. But it was Lonres in the FT who rightly pointed out the slowdown in transactions falling by roughly 50% and possibly unconnected to Brexit, already the result of George Osborne's changes to stamp duty land tax, which I suggested in the same article had just been compounded by the Brexit result. But it was Prudence Ivey writing in the Ham and High who's brought it all together and explained how even in leafy Hampstead and Highgate, the market might be under some pressure. And James Pickford in the FT, following their highly successful weekend FT Expo at Kenwood House, brought consensus amongst commentators as he talked about where the market was heading. But it was the admission by Savills just last week that prime London property could fall by up to 9% this year, which has perhaps crystallised everybody's thoughts. Whether this is right, we'll see as we review the year later on.